You got to dominate to create. Why do I say that? Let me give you this definition of dominate. It is to have commanding influence on or exercise control over. Have commanding influence on or exercise control over. Wow. So dominating my year means I'm going to have a commanding influence on and I'm going to exercise control over. What? I don't know what you want for this year, but create it. I don't know what you want to see in 2023, but create it. Now, how you respond to that, don't feel judged by this, don't feel small by this, but how you respond to that is an indication, not of what you believe about God, but what you believe about you. And if you got limiting beliefs, not about God, but limiting beliefs about you. And here's the enemy using limiting beliefs with us. I don't know enough. Limiting belief, I'm not enough. Limiting belief, I don't have enough. Limiting belief, I'll never be enough. Limiting belief. Why? Because we create it. I don't even have time to deal with this. This is why I believe biblical literacy is necessary for life mastery. I believe it. That's why I started. That's why some of you have gone through it. Bible U, because biblical literacy isn't for just biblical literacy. We're not learning the Bible just to learn the Bible. Biblical literacy is necessary for life mastery. You can't master life if you don't master the blueprint, because you'll see in the Bible that the enemy's primary weapon he used in the garden was to confuse Adam and Eve about their identity. He did not want them to know who they are. He said, God knows if you eat that fruit, you will be like gods. And they were already in the image and likeness of God. So he's always been after you and I not having a full revelation that you are not an evolved version of the animal species. You are a completely different species. You are closest thing to God in fleshly form. And he made you, and when he made you, he made someone who makes things. When he created you, he created another creator. Because only a creator can have dominion. Somebody put dominate in that comments. Put dominate in the comments. You got to dominate to create. Why do I say that? Let me give you this definition of dominate. It is to have commanding influence on or exercise control over. Have commanding influence on or exercise control over. Wow. So dominating my year means I'm going to have a commanding influence on and I'm going to exercise control over. What? Are y'all here? I need to have a commanding influence on what? I need to exercise control over what? Somebody put in the chat, me. 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 Because I realized something with all of these goals that I wrote down. Some years were tougher than others. Some years were harder than others. Some years were easier than others. But I kept running into the same thing. A feeling of frustration that came from a revelation I wasn't reaching my potential. So that let me know something. The only thing that was in common, the only thing all my years had in common was me. Are you okay or do you need a minute? I'm looking at my VIP. Y'all okay? The only thing all my years had in common was me. No year was the same. So that let me know that what I needed to exercise influence over, take command of, was me. Am I making sense, guys? So then I realized that dominating my year was not going to happen from trying harder. Dominating my year was not going to happen with a new app. Because even when I went away from journals and started using apps, I still wasn't reaching my goals. I realized that the app doesn't work unless I do. So I, Darius, had to learn that there is a higher and lower version of me. The lower version of me is a version of me that is influenced by what Paul would call the flesh. And that does not mean that lower version of me is engaging in immorality. It just means that lower version of me may be engaging in practices that are unproductive. Wait, not sin, but a wait. So procrastination, imposter syndrome, not sin, but wait. And you can't dominate your year procrastinating. You can't dominate your year if you're scared to pull the trigger on a thing. Are y'all here? You can't dominate your year people pleasing. You can't dominate your year having to live, dominate your year suffering from approval addiction. Do y'all know programs I got in, masterminds I'm involved in to this day? There are people who looked at me and told me I was crazy, I was being scammed, I was stupid. Those people were taking my money. Now they need to borrow money from me. That's a completely different situation. But they told me all of those things when I was getting in it. And if I had approval addiction, I would not have had the courage to take the step to do a thing that was going to change my life, because I was willing to make an investment where they weren't willing to make an investment. They were making investment in cars, clothes, and cribs. I made an investment in me because I realized nothing is going to give me a return like me. It's not sin, it's weight. So I was wrestling. That lower version of myself was winning against the higher version of myself. So I had to learn the skills. This is not strength. This ain't willpower. This ain't grit and grind. You have to have a strategy so that the higher version of yourself exercises control over the lower version of yourself, so that the higher version of yourself is telling the lower version of yourself, we are not messing this year up. Now, I need to ask you a question. Am I making sense to anybody? Do you feel like you've been wrestling with the higher version of yourself and the lower version of yourself? Have you tried to overcome the lower version of yourself unsuccessfully, to the point where you realize it's not a matter of strength, it's a matter of strategy? I want to share with you tonight. Can I share with you 3 things that have helped and served me well, that I believe will help and serve you well also? If you want it, say I want it. Come on, if you want it, say I want it. If I'm going to dominate my year, I can't dominate my year. If I'm going to dominate my year, I have to become the kind of person that dominates their year, and I have to do the kind of things that people who dominate their year do. I can't dominate my year just by trying to dominate my year. I can only dominate my year by becoming the kind of person that dominates their year and doing the kinds of things that people who dominate their year do. I want to give you 3 of them today. We're going deep. This is a lot of work, guys, but come on. I'm giving you the blueprint. I'm telling you, if you run the play, this play works. Here it is. Here's the first thing you got to do. The first thing you got to do is get a clearer picture. Now I'm about to unpack what I mean by this. Get a clearer picture. This is what I learned. There was a version of me that couldn't emerge until I had a vision big enough to demand it. I'm getting ready to run or something. Why am I more excited than anybody on this? I said that there was a version of myself that did not emerge until there was a vision that was large enough that demanded that version of me. That some evolution comes when there is a demand on you to become that kind of person. There is a version of you that will not show up without a demand. It won't show up just because you want to. Come on. Gideon never becomes a fighter until the demand was put on him to lead Israel in battle. So your vision is not big enough to put a demand on the bigger version of you. Did you hear what I don't care how big you think your vision is. I am telling you right now that your vision is not big enough to put a demand on the higher version of you. So you know what I had to get, guys? There's this course I was taking, and you know what I had to get? I had to get a bag. BAG. Now, what's a bag? A bag is an acronym for something. I'm not talking about money, but I had to get a bag. You see, if you're in any of my programs, if you're in TCP, if you're in Daniel's Den, if you've done whatever, you know, well, not any of my programs, but some of my programs, you know the importance of having what we call a PCS, right? A personal calling statement. All right. Personal calling statement. So mine is, I want to help as many people as possible change their life by leading transformational churches. I do that. By creating transformational content. I do that. And by doing transformational coaching. I do that. I coach people in groups. This year is the first year that I am going back to one-on-one coaching, but I'm only taking 5 people, and it's a year-long agreement, and I'll be pouring into them. But that's my PCS. But watch this, guys. It's clear and cloudy at the same time. A PCS is important because it helps me discern my opportunities. It helps me know what I'm supposed to be doing. With people in our inner circle, the first thing we make them do is clarify a PCS, because if not, you're going to be trying to do marketplace ministry you hate. Yeah. Right? If I can get you in your PCS, then I get you in your field of favor. And when you in your field of favor, it's some stuff that other people have to do. You don't have to do because favor's on you. So you don't have to market like they market because favor's on you. And you don't have to grind like they grind because favor's on you. So I want people to discover their PCS so that when they're engaging in things, you stepping into your field of favor and you got a tailwind behind your back. When Ruth was gleaning in a field of favor. She was gleaning in Boaz's field. So Boaz had given the people instruction. Don't make it hard on her. Leave all the stuff there and just let her pick it up. She didn't even have to pull it up. All she had to do was pick it up. Y'all miss what I just said because you was in her field of favor. When you're not in your field of favor, you got to pull it up. But when you get in your field of favor, all you got to do is pick it up. So the people in my inner circle, that's the first thing we walk them through. But it's clear and cloudy at the same time because it's not specific. Y'all got me? So I learned that I need a bag. It's a version of Jim Collins' BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal. Hairy don't make sense to me. I took that out. So a bag, it don't make hairy. Well, I don't want nothing hairy. So
in the silence, I hear your voice. Whispers of forever, a heartfelt choice. To love without limits, to give without shame. In your eyes, my heart finds its flame. We'll chase the sunset, we'll dance in the rain. Our love will shine brighter with every heartbeat's pain. We'll rise above the noise, our love will be the light. In the darkest of nights, we'll find our way to the light. Lost in the moment, our love will ignite.
So it's a big, audacious goal. And some of us don't have a bag because you're too scared to write something big down because you've got a cycle of failure in your past, and your failure is influencing your faith more than your future.